Okay, hi, my name is Christina Adair, and I am going to be talking to you today about data discovery with the portal. I'm part of the community science team with Rubin. You can find all of the information. I have a lot of things I'm going to put in the chat today. You can find all the information here. There we go. This is our schedule for the week. We are currently in the data discovery with the portal session. If you need help with getting your account set up, make sure you stick around after this session. We'll have people who are going to help you set up your account. Also, if you have any questions, please feel free to either unmute and talk or just put it in the chat. We've got people who are monitoring things. All right, so for today's agenda, we are going to be doing lots and lots of things in the portal. I've got 8 different tutorials that I'm going to run through today. You can see things here. We're going to be looking at some HIPS maps. We're going to be using some ADQL queries. And then at the very end, we're going to be doing some science investigations with a light curve and creating a color magnitude diagram. So we'd also like to remind you, oops, I'm so sorry. Twitchy with my mouse there. So just to remind you that the portal is a very powerful tool. If you're going to be doing some advanced investigations into the data, you're probably going to want to use the notebook aspect. But the portal is very user-friendly, very beginner-friendly. Let's see, I'll be demonstrating these 2 ways to access data today. So through the user interface and also with ADQL queries. If you have the tutorial notebooks open, which I'm going to give you in just a second, you can copy the ADQL queries. I can put them in the chat as well. But if you'd like to log into the RSP, I just put the data.lsst.cloud link within the portal, so within the chat, so you can see that. And as a reminder, as always, you can get help by posting a topic in the support category of the community forum. So community.lsst.org. I have more links. I'm going to give you so many links today. Also, as we have stated a couple of times today, we do have the Rubin data policy, and it looks like the link to the international data rights holders has been updated, so that's good. This has already been talked about a couple of times today, so I'm just going to continue. And all right, this is going to get you set up for all of the documentation associated with DP1. If you follow that link to dp1.lsst.io, you will see, and just to verify, Jeff, that you can see my second window that I just put in top of the slideshow or not?
Yes.
Oh, very good. All right, so this is our DP1 documentation. If you scroll down to tutorials, and then click on the portal aspect, you will be able to see all the portal aspect, notebook aspect, and API aspect tutorials that we have here. So as I said, we're going to cover about 8 of them today, which I'm going to tell you in a second. Also, if you go at the very bottom, or I'm sorry, if you go over here, information on how to cite, if you're going to use some of the data and put it in a paper, we've got all that information is also on DP1 site as well. Okay. And then finally, we do have a lot of information on rubinobservatory.org. There's a link for that. The how to cite here is right there. I didn't add that link, but that's okay. All right, so all those reminders for our documentation. Once again, how to find the tutorials, you go to dp1.lsst.io that I just put the link in there. You'll navigate to the portal tutorials, and click on the portal tutorials. Now, as I said, I'm going to go through about 8 of them here. So we're going to be doing quite a bit. And I'm going to put that list in just a second so you can look. So, but as a reminder, some key concepts for some things that we have available to you at the RSP. So TAP is a standardized way of accessing Rubin data. It includes filtering joins, big data operations on the server side, and it works the same in the portal as in notebooks. We also have some ADQL, which is SQL-like language that we use to write queries. This is also within standards, and I will show you a lot of ADQL queries today. Other key concepts we have. LSST, we have these terms that we use specifically. We discuss a source or an object a lot within LSST. A source is a detection in a single processed visit image, so you can think like an observation. An object, though, on the other hand, is an astrophysical object in the static sky coordinate, so we can think star there. So we're an object, I already got that. So the object table contains measurements on objects in the deep coads. The source table, I'm sorry, I went backwards. The source table contains measurements on an object in a processed visit image, but the object table contains measurements on the deep coads. So that's kind of important to keep in mind. We talked about this a little bit already this morning. And also just a reminder, forced photometry refers to a measurement at a fixed coordinate system. All right, so these are the tutorials that we're planning on covering today. I'm going to put the list into the chat in case you would like a quick reference for that. I'm going to switch over to the Rubin Science platform and enter the, there we go. All right. So I am now in the Rubin Science platform. You can see here that I have logged in already. We have aspects for the portal, notebook, and API, but you can also get the information up here in these tabs. But I'm going to click on the tutorial, or the portal, sorry. And the first tutorial I am going to work on today is 101.1. Put that in the chat just to make your life easier. That link should take you directly to the HTML version of the tutorial. And I'm going to go through. Now this tutorial specifically walks you through the portal in just a smidgen more detail than Melissa showed this morning. As you can see, let me see if I can reset this. Nope, I don't need to, okay. So here we have, I showed you how to log into the portal. As before, we are on the results page, but we have not actually done any searches. So we don't have any results at the moment. The tabs up here show you some of the default settings that we have. If you would like to add specific tabs, you click over here on this 3-line, sometimes affectionately referred to as a hamburger icon. And you may open different tabs associated with this. Also notice that there is an appearance option. If my chart, it's going very slow. From here, you can switch to dark mode, but my computer is acting weird. Also, if you click on the Rubin logo, you can see the various versions of the portal, the ones that we're using right now. So if you are having some troubleshooting issues, you can look at that. So as I said, the tab selection, results will show up here, tab selection up at the top. You click on logo or click on this 3-bar icon to change which tabs are visible. So that is the tutorial for 101-1, which is fairly simple. Are there any questions real quick on that? Are people having any issues logging in, or are we still good to go? I'm reading Jeff's comments in there. in the chat. Okay. So the next tutorial that we're going to go through is 101-2. Put that in the chat as well. For this tutorial, we are going to browse HIP maps within DP1. So we're in the portal tutorial right now. We're on the results tab, and now I'm going to click on the 3-line over here, and I'm going to add Rubin HIPS search. And that is going to open up the extra tab for doing the Rubin HIPS search. We are also going to do a search of the ECDFS field. So within here, if I'm going too fast, please let me know. So within the coordinates, we are going to add right there. I just put it in the chat. So the coordinates that we are going to use for this tutorial, we're also going to do a 1-degree search. Now, Melissa had showed you before selecting your colors by clicking on that, but you can also go to this down arrow and just select the GRI aspect, the selection that you would like for here. So I just wanted to show you that this is available, and we'll show it in a table view in a second as well. So you can click on it there and hit apply, and then you only have this one as an option. Now, if I hit search, I am able to pull up a very nice image. This is the same one that Melissa had just demonstrated earlier with this ECDFS field, and you can zoom in and pan and see this beautiful image from the Rubin Science platform. So it's fairly simple. If you know your coordinates and you decide on the filters you want, you can get a HIPS map pretty quick. So to switch back from the results over to here, you just click on the tabs and it'll bring you to a new area. So it's pretty simple. Are there any questions with 101.2? Okay, very good. All right, I think chat is still good too. All right. So for the next tutorial that we will cover is 102.1. We are now going to query for catalog data. So we're going to log into the Rubin Science platform results. We actually have something here already, but I'm going to click this X to remove this result. If you are doing a lot of work in the portal, closing out your prior search can help you sort of organize your data a lot. And if I get things messed up, it's usually because I've forgotten to X out of something. So for this investigation, we are now going to click on DP1 catalogs. And if you'll notice here, so I just clicked on DP1 catalogs, we have a lot of information available on this page. You have the table collections here, which will show you, you can still access DP0 catalogs if you'd like to investigate some of our simulated data. Over here in the tables, these are the tables that are available for that data release. And so we have object table, source table, etc. And then if you scroll down, there are also some solar system objects in here. And then continuing to review, we have over here, we have constraints that you can add in with spatial, temporal, and object IDs. And then we have our output column selection and constraints table here, which you'll notice there are 1,296 columns, 39 of which are shown here. If you click on this little filter button, it can just show you those things that are clicked at the moment. I can remove that by doing this. Let's see. There is the name of each of the items. The constraints, you can put your constraints in here. So if you're searching for a specific item, or if you're searching for stars in a specific magnitude range, you can do that here. We have the degrees and then also some descriptions of each of these. All right, so we are going to do a quick search just to show you the functionality. So once again, I'm going to use the same field, but this time I'm going to do it a little bit wider and just search for -53 and 28. And then I've got, now this changes every time I'm in here, which I apologize. I should not have clicked that. Okay, so now we have coordinate, RA and DEC are selected. I also, there is a way to search for PSF flux. I'm going to show you that real quick because I would like to select just G PSF flux, R PSF flux, and I PSF flux. And I don't know if anybody else has challenges like this, but I get challenged by this a lot. So I'm also going to enter the constraint. Here, let me put this in the chat. So what I have done to make this easier on myself, I have searched for PSF flux. I've selected GR and I. Now I also should have all the other things that are clicked, but I'm just going to search now. I'm going to check really quick. I would like to do a 30 arc seconds. So I'm choosing arc seconds and then put in 30 here. All right, let me check my query. I've got my spatial query with my coordinates. I've got my radius and I've got my constraints that I'm adding. I'm now going to hit search. Just to show you real quick, you can just edit 82QL directly here, which we're going to use that in a second, or you can populate and edit 80QL as well. This is a very powerful button right here. And even if you're working in the notebook aspect, sometimes you can come over to the portal and like figure out what you want to put in the notebook. So I'm going to hit search. I'm going to run this query. And as you can see, now I have returned results with a data table at the bottom, coverage map up here, and an active chart, which at the moment is plotting the RA and DEC against each other. The default action here is to plot basically the first two things that you have. We will be manipulating this in just a second. You can also zoom in and zoom out. You'll notice there is an orange dot. If I click a different row, I get a different object that is now being shown. Okay, are there any questions with that for right now? Everybody's still keeping up? All right, very nice. I am going to X out of this one as well as we move on to the next tutorial. So as you can see, I X out of that and it brought me back to the results page. Everything is clean. So that's good. Okay. The next tutorial that I'm going to cover is shown here. 104.1, which is navigate the catalog and results interface. So once again, we're going to log on to the Rubin Science platform. We're going to execute a query this time. Let me pull this over. So as you can see, we have queries already embedded within the tutorial. That's pretty awesome. So For this one, we're going to log into the portal, click onto the catalogs tab, and we're going to switch to the ADQL interface, which I'm going to show you in a second. But all you have to do is come here. You can either click and drag, or you can just click this little button and it will copy to your clipboard. If you are not following along directly, I'm going to put that in chat. I hope if it doesn't work, please let me know. So we're going to click on DP1 catalogs. This time we are going to the edit ADQL right up here, which gives me, we have some popular functions shown. We've got some sample queries shown, but in this case, we're just going to take what we copied into the clipboard and paste it within here. If I look at this from the DP1 object table, I am getting the RANDEC. I'm also getting G CModel mag and R CModel mag. And from the coordinates that we would like to, that we looked at before, the 53 and the -28, so the ECDFS field. We've also got an added constraint in here for our magnitudes. So this makes things really easy, especially when you're doing the tutorials that you can just copy and paste them in here. So I'm going to hit search. And you will get the results here, and you will notice once again we have our three major components that we have. Over here we have a coverage chart. This is the HealPix view with the grid showing you how many objects per each of these grids are being shown. Over here in ActiveChart, once again we have the RANDEC plotted for you here. And if I were to select a different row, you'll notice that there is a little dot here showing the object, and over here it's also showing the object. If you would like to change this, you can now go back over here, and I'm hoping that this works for me now, and click on the results layout. It didn't show before because I didn't have any results. Come on. And now you can select what type of layout you want. So if you don't need the data table, you could just have the coverage and the charts. If you would like the table only and the coverage charts, then you can switch your layout, and so you can see things here. So this is pretty cool. All right, I am going to switch back though for my next query. All right, so if you notice, we have a data table here with an X. I'm not going to X out of this at the moment because we are going to do another query. So I'm going back to DP1 catalogs, which should take me directly back to the ADQL query. And this time we have an, oops, sorry, a Windows machine. We have a new query, same thing, just copy. And then you can paste it in here. So I'm going to select all this and paste it back in. Let me put this back in the chat for you as well, if you're following along in that way. So same thing, we've got the object table again, and we are looking at the same aspects, but we are going to change a little bit of the information we're looking for. And this would be the new query. And now I can toggle back and forth between each of these queries. So if you'll notice, there's different information that is actually provided in both of these. So that is powerful if you'd like to do it. Sometimes I get confused with this if I have run many queries. So I just wanted to make you aware that this is a powerful tool that can also confuse you if you're not aware of that. So, and once again, if you would like to close a query that you're not using, you just use the X button and get out of that. So I am going to X out of both of these. So we go back to the results table, or the results tab. Is everyone following along and doing well? Seem to be going rather quickly, but I hope if everyone's fine. All right. So our next tutorial that we are going to do is 102.2. That in the chat. This one is querying for images using the simple image access version 2. If I look up here, I do not have that option. And so I click here to start the DP1 images with SIA version 2. That opens another tab. We're going to set some spatial constraints, same as before. Sorry, there we go. Just give you that in the chat, just so you see what I'm doing again. My radius is going to be 1 degree. So when you change, you have to kind of change the degrees before you can change the number here. If you do it the other way, you're going to have to put the number in twice. So we are going to do a cone shape search at this location, radius 1 degree. I'm going to also choose the observation type and source. So I'm going to click the down arrow to open this up. From this, we would like to choose a calibration level 2, which is our PVI. Melissa showed you this earlier too. We're going to select an image from Rubin, and we're going to be using the LSST cam and our DP1 collection. And we're also going to search for a visit image. So I would imagine in the future, if we are doing, we have multiple data releases available, this would be something that's important for that. Okay, also with this search, I am going to input some timing constraints. Hope everyone's keeping up. So the time of the observation, we're going to use overlapping specific range, and I'm going to switch to MJD values. And the first one is here. So our start time, just put that in the chat, 6:06:25. Our end time is going to be 6:06:30. And I'll put that in the chat for you as well. And then finally, we're going to look at spectral coverage. We're going to do R band for this one. Okay, so I hope everybody's up to date. We are doing a SIA search at this location, 1 radius, 1 degree. Put in our calibration level 2 here and choosing visit images. We've got our time and then our filter that we would like to look at, and I'm going to click search. For the results we have here, we have a very interesting, we've got our little image here that you can scroll and look at. You can click on another one and it will load a new product, a new image. There are ways to look at multiple images, but we are going to be doing that in a future, in just a few minutes actually. So, are there any questions at this point? What happened if you don't see an image? Ah, very good question. You could potentially have to hit the data product here up at the top. That's a very good question. Sometimes these tabs will get you a little bit confused, and it can depend on the configuration. If you haven't logged out of the portal and back in, it could depend on the configuration that you used the last time you used it. Also up here, that's a very good question actually. There are tabs that you can click on. I'll just show you this real quick. This multiple thing. There's all sorts of tools that we have tutorials on here. What I did just there is I clicked on multiple images to tile rather than the single image. So did that help? I got a fail. Okay, but reloading worked. Okay, very good. Yeah. Sometimes, actually, I've had that before. Sometimes if you click one of these images in the table, that also might not have the right data in it. But okay, so it worked for you. Very nice. Okay, on time, we are still doing okay. All right, very good. So I'm going to X out of this search as well. And if you'll notice, as I said, now all of these tabs are still open. And I think actually when I log out of the RSP and log back in and go in the portal, they'll still be active. If you would like to clean up what tabs you have, you just click on the three lines and then hit reset all, just so you know that that is there for you. Okay, very good. All right, we're moving quickly. The next tutorial that I would like to go through is 105.1. So we're going to navigate the image results interface within DP1. So same thing as before. Show you. We're going to execute an ADQL query for visit images. We're going to click on DP1 images this time, and we're going to click on edit ADQL up in the upper corner. And then we are going to execute this search here, which I will copy and put into the chat. So as I said, we're going to go up here and click on DP1 images. So far we've looked at the HIPS search, SAI 2 and DP catalogs. We're going to do images this time. And before, all the things that you can do over here, and you have this big table with all of these items selected. But if you already sort of know your ADQL query, or if you would like to alter the ADQL queries that we have in the tutorial, you click on edit ADQL here, which takes you to the screen, and you can paste in your new query. So as I said, if you would like to alter this, you can. You just click on it and type in it here. So we're actually looking at the IVOA OBS core. We're getting data from that. We're getting a DP1 image calibration level 2 from LSST ComCam. And it's the same location that we looked at before. And we are getting these data types. So I'm gonna click search. Okay, very nice. So once again, we have a coverage chart shown here with all the data that's returned, or you have the data product that is returned here, and then we have the table over here that gives you the RA index of all the sources that you have. So click on another row in the table. See that it's highlighted in orange. It will retrieve a new image for you. Very nice. If we want, we can do a down select here. So we're going to go here, and I'm going to go to LSST band, and I'm going to select only R band images. So I'm going to click on the down arrow, click on R, then hit apply. So that's one thing we're going to do in this tutorial. Then we are also going to put some time constraints in here, if I can copy this properly. So for T-min, minimum time, we're putting that there. I'm gonna hit, and then T-max, oops, nope, sorry. That's all we're gonna do, sorry. Hit enter, enter, Jeff, have I done something wrong? Okay, no, that's right. The tutorial, oh, okay, that's what happened. So our tutorial says that if you'll notice here, we have 1 of 10 being shown here. So this little part in the table will show you how many rows you have. And so we have 10 images shown here. Now, if I click on the tile all images in the search result, I will get 8 images shown side by side, which is very nice. I can hide this part over here because this isn't really giving me any information at the moment. So once again, go to results, and I'm going to select, okay, I'm going to select coverage charts and tables. All right, now if you'll notice this switched back to the active chart, but if I click on coverage, I get the coverage map and then data products. I will get all of our images shown there. There are ways you can zoom in. You can use these buttons right here to zoom in, which I didn't show you before. You don't have to do this, but I'm switching back to single image. You can zoom with your mouse controls if available, or you can zoom in with our spyglass, magnifying glass. There's also a way to lock these so that when you move one image, it will lock with all of the images as well. But I don't think I'm going to show you that. How is everyone doing? Are you able to keep up? And totally loving the portal at the moment? All right, I am going to switch back now. This probably might not be necessary for you, but I'm going to switch back to this where I have all 3 bits of data showing, and I'm going to X out of this data so I can get a clean results view for the next tutorial. All right. All good? No questions? Okay. The next tutorial we're going to investigate is 104.7. So we're going to plot a light curve of a variable object. I am going to go slower through this one because this is more of a science case. The other ones are just showing you how the portal functionality works. So for this one, we're going to go to the portal and the catalog tab. We're going to switch to the ADQL interface as we did before, and we're going to enter this query before, which will return the DIA object ID. So I'm going to copy that. Oops. So catalogs tab, go back. I'm already in the ADQL query. If I want to switch back to the UI assisted, I just click here. I'm going to remove this filter. I'm going to reset the columns just so things are a little cleaner. Once again, go back into ADQL, and I'm putting the query into the chat. And once again, I'll have to remove this one and paste the new one over. So if we looked at this query, we're trying to get the DIA object ID, the coordinates, and the number of sources from the DIA object table. And once again, for this one, we've refined our spatial coordinates just a little bit. Does anybody have any questions yet? Because I'm going to hit search now. All right, so the query results appear in the interface. We've got coverage chart which marks the DIA objects with the HIPS map. We have an active chart, which is not showing up anything at the moment. There we go. So we have these 2 rows are showing up here. Zoom out a little. There we go. That is that one. Here we go. Okay. So now we're going to execute an ADL query. There's actually, so it's just one way to do this. We're going to refine that now by joining the forced source on DAI object. So it's the same ish query, but we are now going to make it a little more sophisticated. So I'm going to copy this and put it in the chat. I'm also going to X out of here just so things are clear. Going back to catalogs, and now put that chat, or the query that I just put in the chat, I'm now putting it in my ADQL query. So if we look at this one, we're getting the coordinates of the object, we're getting an object ID, but we're also getting PSF flux, an error, bands, visit info, and some timing information. Let's see, and we're doing this from force source on DA object table. Where do we get that number from? That is our object ID. So I'm going to hit search.
Was that one of the 2 results from the previous search?
Yes, I believe. Well, yeah, hold on one second. Yes. So right down here, we had object ID. So I didn't explain that. Yeah. So right here, so we have a large number of detections. There was 183, I think, for this object ID. So I ran this generic search and then got object IDs, which I am now using that object ID to refine my search. Thank you for the question. I didn't explain that as well as I could have. Sorry about that. Okay, so now we have results here. And if you'll notice, there are 275 returned items here. So we're going to change the plot to show flux versus time. So this is the RANDEC plot. And so we're going to change this now by clicking on this gear icon up here, which sometimes the mouse over will give me, nope. Oh, chart options and tools. Mine's always a little slow. Now we're going to change this. We're going to modify trace. You can overplot new trace. You can also, I'm going to show you this real quick. You can also add a new plot by doing this right here, which we're going to do that in the next tutorial. So we're going to modify this trace. And for our X, we are only going to look at timing. And for Y, we are going to look at PSF flux. And then we're going to add a flux error, and we're going to use this. You can also change your trace options, but I think we're going to leave that the way it is. And then your chart options, you can add a table. You can also add grids, change it to logarithmic. You can also put scaling, a min and a max here. So I'm going to put title, and I'm going to hit apply. All right, so this is pretty cool, but I would like to filter this. So I am also going to go down here. My next step, I'm going to simplify this a little bit by clicking on the band button again, and this time I'm only going to get I-band images and hit apply. Can you hear my dog? My dog is barking. So, okay, look at that. So now we have a light curve. We were able to fairly quickly find an object, search for some data, and get a light curve. One of the things that, okay. Sorry, there was something else. There was some functionality that was showing up yesterday that's not showing up today. Anyway, is this one? All right, anyway, we were able to extract a light curve from here. Can we switch the y-axis to magnitude? Yes, you can. Did we grab magnitude? We didn't grab magnitude in this search criteria, but if you go back to the catalogs, catalogs, you can grab that instead, or you can actually add another column, and that is functionality that is shown in other tutorials, but I wasn't going to show it today. But yes, you can add a column. You can put the name in and put in an expression in here if you would like to do those types of things. The portal is really powerful. It's very, very nice. All right, so I've got about 4 minutes left to show you how to plot a light curve. So once again, I'm going to X out of this so that I come back to a clean results tab. And now we're on to our final tutorial, which is, I'll put this in the chat. 104.6, we're going to plot the histogram and heat maps. Okay, so for this one, we are going to run an ADQL query as well. You can always do it in the UI assisted. You can build something like this in the UI assisted, but if you have the ADQL query, it's kind of easier to do. So I'm going to copy this one. We're doing this from the catalogs tab as well. Put this in the chat. Click on DP1 catalogs. I'm going to add this new query. Post it in there, right? Okay. Oops. All right, so from here, I'm looking at the DP1 object catalog again. I'm going to grab the RA index of the objects. I'm going to get the GRC model magnitudes and their extendedness parameters. We're still working the ECDFS field, but now I've got some constraints in here for extendedness equal to 1 and the model fluxes are above a certain threshold. Yes. All right, so I'm going to hit search. Okay, and as we saw, now it goes to the background, so we have our results. So once again, here's our heel picks with all of our sources within each of the areas, our tables down here, and we still have our first two columns are mapped here. But we're going to add a new chart. So I'm going to click on this plus button. And we're going to choose a histogram. So when you're adding a new chart, you can have a scatter chart, a heat map, or a histogram. This time, I would like to demonstrate a histogram. And the expression that we are going to look at is GC model mag. You can change the number of bins and the minimum and the maximum if you would like. See, you can also add a title. And for this one, I'm going to put in a minimum of 17 as our magnitude. So this is our histogram. And I'm going to hit apply. Oops, I'm going to put a maximum too. I'm so sorry. Minimum 17, maximum of 26. Everybody good? So I clicked the plus button to add a new chart. I've chosen a histogram with C model mag, GC model mag, and I've put some constraints on the minimum and maximum for the X values. I'm going to click OK. And now you see over here that I have both charts available here. So I have the regular RA and DEC one and now a histogram. But I'd like to get rid of this one because it's not really giving me any information I'm interested in. So I'm going to X out of that. Oops, running quick on time. I'm going to add a new chart now because I'm going to add a heat map. So I click the plus button. I'm going to choose heat map this time. For this is very powerful. Actually, for my X, I'm going to do GC model mag. For my Y though, I'm going to do GC model mag minus R _ C model mag. Oops. If you'll notice, it was red until I finished typing. So you can grab the first one. I'm not exactly sure functionality. I have always had to type in the second one, but if you have it wrong, it will be red. When you get it right, it will turn black. All right, and so this chart title, it's going to be, I'm going to click OK. And now we have a heat map of all of the data that we have selected. So that is the end of tutorial 1046. There is a lot more information in the rest of the tutorials. I encourage you to go check them out because there's lots and lots of good stuff. So does anybody have questions? Because you have a 9-minute break, unless you have questions. All right, well, I appreciate your time. I think all the questions in the chat Jeff took care of.
I think so. If anyone had any follow-up on those, you're welcome to unmute and ask right now.
Okay. Yay. Very good. Use the portal, it's lots of fun.